trying to...
Welcome to Loosely Defined.
Yeah. Welcome, guys. Welcome, friends.
It's a kind of low energy start here, but we've actually got plenty to talk about, so let's hop into it.
I'm trying to chug the coffee. We'll get there.
Yeah. So the Game Awards were last weekend. Obviously, if you listen to our last episode, we did talk a decent amount about them, at least in terms of what we were expecting to see and hoping to see. But now we know what we saw, so we're gonna start by kind of recapping the Game Awards as a whole, winners, losers, stuff like that, and then talk about some of the announcements and reveals from it, and then we'll get into a bigger main topic later on, as we usually do. So yeah, this is Loosely Defined, the show with Bo and Ed, and
everything's made up and the points don't matter.
And the points don't matter. We need to come up with a more regular intro.
No, I like the lack of it, because I don't know, if it's one person's first episode and we're talking about like super heavy focused on games or whatever, and then the next episode is like the full Mandalorian, whatever. Like I want people to be able to jump in and have a different impression, but also it's loosely defined, so I don't defining things is like the antithesis of our branding, I feel.
That's a good point.
Yeah, like let's stay loose. Hashtag stay loose.
Hashtag stay loose. Yeah, so I didn't watch the Game Awards. I was at work, and Bo did though. So
yeah,
just start us off by your actual review of the show itself. Like
I love the Game Awards every year. Like it gets me like anytime they pull out the orchestra, I'm just like, all right, I'm gonna cry at some point during this goddamn show. It's gonna be weird. There's gonna be something random that I didn't expect, and then
especially as you're drinking through the whole thing.
Oh yeah, no, I was watching the Kinda Funny watch along, and they don't do like the Game Awards drinking game, but I think Polygon made one where it's like anytime they say like just all the buzzwords like 4K or like the best place to play or like just like we're pushing
like
new boundaries
board or whatever.
Yeah, it's basically a bingo board. Yeah, just by the end of it I was just wasted. But fucking the show itself was great. Like I think people were upset that there was no big Smash announcement, which we kind of expected there to be a Smash announcement because there have been historically at the Game Awards. Yeah. Like a precedent has been set, but also Nintendo hasn't said. Like they had their little Nindies. They stopped calling them Nindies, but their indie showcase a few days beforehand. I thought that would have ended with like, yeah, and by the way, check out whatever at the Game Awards. But nope. In terms of shout out to Jeff Keighley. Like highlight standout moments were like the Muppets, obviously.
I saw that. Yeah.
I need to remember her goddamn name, but like Ikumi, someone like the dev that everyone loves, and she came out. She was like, my English isn't very good, so you have to like bear with me.
Oh, I saw that. That was adorable.
I love her so much.
Adorable. I started seeing a lot of her stuff in my Twitter feed.
And she was sitting next to Elon Musk.
I like that. I'm glad she got to get a little spotlight again.
Yeah, and she kind of pointed out because they brought her on stage last year for some game that now I can't respect. Like I was super hyped. Like she came out and she was like, "Yeah, we're making this game. It's spooky." And I was like, "Okay."
Yeah, I remember that.
And then they showed the trailer for the game, and I was like, "Okay." And then that's
wasn't that at E3?
I'm pretty sure it was the Game Awards.
Oh.
I mean, I could be wrong. I have no idea. But just since the last time she was like publicly out there. No, I'm very sure it was the Game Awards now that I think about it. But at me on Twitter. I don't give a shit. Just
like that's the most controversial thing.
Yeah, after the holiday hot takes episode, like I had no issue with your views on Pokemon, but like, fuck it. It was chill. Like I loved it. I'm one of the suckers that is just like I will watch it every year. I will get all emotional that like there's now like the Oscars for video games, and like they've had different award ceremonies, but just not to this scale and not to this like you'll have like the DICE Awards, but like the Game Awards to me are that's the trophy that I recognize, and that's the I know Jeff Keighley's face. I get hype. I know that December is Game Awards season. And again, that orchestra.
Yeah. they're still in just that in that weird place where like this is what like Game Awards like this have been made fun of a lot in the past for, which is just having like random celebrities and like weird kind of like showy stuff. And like I don't know, like if this were actually like I feel like occasionally trailers will like run for movies during the commercial breaks for the Oscars, but like it's not a part of the show.
But the games industry is also weird in terms of like games media is really just an extension of like marketing and like in my head. And like, I mean, that's how he put on the event in the first, like getting all of the sponsors, getting the random ass 5-second bit on, hey, Subway really cares about gamers. No, the fuck you don't. Just we'll buy your sandwiches. Let's just move on.
Right.
Like,
it just seems like it's interesting because it's not like the Academy that does the Oscars and the Grammys and shit are 100% still very like industry corporate things, but the Game Awards seems to hide from it less, like with all the branding and all of the reveals and like marketing aspects of it. And I mean, like it doesn't. I'm okay with this, but it just doesn't. It doesn't seem to hold any of the like hoity-toityness that like the Oscars do, which I think is a good thing, frankly.
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say
it's just an interesting balance they're striking. You know, like I'm curious because I watched it with you last year, and from what it seems like, this was similar to last year, in being more of like a show.
I mean,
and I'm curious if it'll kind of stay like that for a while. You know. I mean, or if like they'll ever try to make it seem more like quote unquote serious.
As I burp my opinions out, I think compared to last year, this was definitely a much more tame.
Yeah.
Like Green Day being there was probably the most hype moment. Like in terms of the energy and that you could tell from. I'm speaking as though I was there, just watching from Twitch, seeing people be like, "Oh shit, fucking Green Day's here," and then
yeah. Okay, I thought it was random. Did that actually have to do with anything that was like revealed or shown or whatever?
Yeah, a Beat Saber pack had like I guess Green Day's going on tour and they're also putting songs on Beat Saber. Like at one point during the performance, Billy Joel put on what were supposed to be like VR glasses, but they were just like fat ass glasses.
Right. Okay.
Grimes performed.
That's cool. Well, she has stuff in Cyberpunk, right?
Yeah.
Didn't they?
Also,
because I saw the trailer they had for the like soundtrack. Yep.
Run the Jewels, ASAP Rocky. They've got some cool people in there. Fucking. I'm trying to think of like really really standout moments. Like we'll get to the like actual reveals, but I'm just trying to think of like the purely showy moments, like Muppets in the Untitled Goose Game. Like that was fucking hilarious. Like it went on like 10 seconds too long, but I thought it was still worth it.
Well, if in that case, let's move into
we're just gonna go down
the actual. We can talk about what actually won, and maybe that'll spark some stuff in your head. But obviously, the big winner was Sekiro for Game of the Year, which only surprised me because it seemed like that. I don't know. Like I guess that was the most accessible of those like Souls type games. Like
yeah,
but it seems like those are. I mean, they're wildly successful, so I don't know why I think this, but they seem niche to me. Am I wrong for thinking that?
I think yes, but no. Like I think the audience that they have is so fucking dedicated. Like,
yeah.
Like I played Sekiro. I didn't come close to beating it, but it was the first time I felt like the pull to keep smashing my head against the wall, and then like I. Like that, like I'm just thinking of our friends that play like that are the big Dark Souls heads. Like shout out Isaiah Raps. That kid will, any game that I play, he will say, "Oh, well, they just took it from Dark Souls. They just took it from Dark Souls." It's
right.
Never really true, but then it makes me want to play Dark Souls. like I think their fan base is so vocal and so like, and rightfully so. Like those games, once you like I said, I didn't get that far into Sekiro, but like the last like real boss that I beat, like I still have the fucking muscle memory of, okay, so she's gonna kick, I gotta wait and then kick and then blah blah blah. Like just it gets in your head in a way that other games don't.
Interesting.
And now I like, as I'm talking about it, I'm just like, man, I feel bad that I quit on that game. Like I know for a fact I'll never beat it. Like it's just one of those, I don't have the patience or the time. But the gameplay loop that they've set up and the like, I want to say tactile, but like the like Like you really genuinely feel the like strain of getting hit, like trying to counter a sword. Like the audio design in that game is fucking fantastic. It plays really well. Like I personally thought Resident Evil 2 was gonna win because I thought like
Yeah, that's what you said last week. Yeah.
Yeah, like I thought just more people were talking about that game. Like and still we're talking about that game. But
well, kind of going off of what we mentioned last week briefly, like, do you think the fact that it was a remake did hurt its chance, like hurt its votes?
No.
Like, do you think no? You don't think there were people who like were like, you know, my favorite game was Resident Evil 2, but I'm gonna give it to Sekiro because it was an original, original game.
I think those people existed. I don't think it was a big enough push. Because honestly,
Right.
as I was just listening to everyone's kind of general Game of the Year discussions, I feel like a lot of outlets were saying like, not necessarily it's a weak year for games, but like the past few years we've had standouts of like it's either God of War or Red Dead. Either way, like Red Dead was controversial because it was like slow and deliberate or whatever. But
Yeah.
like if you beat Red Dead, then like it was in the conversation. Like it was one of those games.
Oh yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Even with all of its like criticisms, like as valid as they were, like I think it would be hard to argue that wasn't in that conversation in terms of like what it achieved, like on a story level and stuff like that. You know,
Yeah.
like it's flawed as hell, but no part of me regrets playing that.
No, like I was
Yeah,
like, and I going from not having played Red Dead Redemption 2 is a very good game. I'll leave it at that. Because I want to talk about Arthur Morgan for fucking years. Like I've wanted to go back and replay it. But all of that to say,
me too, dude.
you know, last year we had God of War and Red Dead, and then the year before that we had Zelda, fucking Mario Odyssey, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then the year before that like Overwatch and I don't know, just the last few years of games have had like some huge standouts. Like
yeah, jeez, wow. This
I was
just
saying
seemed kind of like it's not probably not fair to call this a weak year, but just in comparison, like there was less runaway successes. Yeah,
less runaway successes and less like you couldn't. Like, I personally would not recommend Sekiro to everyone. Like so, I feel like it getting Game of the Year is awesome, but it's also one of those like if Star Wars, if Jedi Fallen Order,
thinking about that, yeah.
If that game did not launch buggy as shit, like I still haven't bought it yet because I know that it's still buggy. Once they patch, and maybe it's been patched, I don't know. I should ask Johnny. But like once they make that game stable, like I'm ready to sell my soul to the devil to just binge the fuck out of that game. Like I'm so excited. I know it's really good. But also,
that could have been this year's Spider-Man in terms of like or like Arkham or whatever, in terms of being like a Game of the Year contender that happens to be a licensed game, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And also, I think it would have done, not that EA needs help, but like, like they've had, like it's EA and Activision are like the two worst companies. And EA has really just been, like, once they got the Star Wars license from Disney in like 2010? I don't know. They've just been shitting the bed, like, horribly, like, just over and over and over and over again. So, like, the fact that this came out and people enjoyed it, I'm glad. But I'm also like, if it was just not, like the kind of funny, like, their discussion of it was just like, man, I love this game. I cannot, with good conscience, give it anything, like, higher than... I forgot the actual number that they were giving, but there was like it was enough to really, really hold the game back. And I think I don't know. I'm excited to play. I think.
Yeah, me too. I need to get it. I'm hoping I'll get it around Christmas. If not, it'll be like the first thing I play next year. But
yeah, because also I'm trying to think of. So, Last of Us got delayed until March. May?
Something like that. May, I think, yeah.
Yeah. Like, I know that initially it was like, oh shit, February's about to be stacked, and then all the February games got pushed. So, like, Doom is in March. Animal Crossing is in March. Like, it's the same. Doom and Animal Crossing on the same day.
Oh, Animal Crossing. I'm so excited.
Yeah, I am very much not. But I know I'm going to... Like, I've decided this is going to be the Animal Crossing I jump in. Like, I have no idea what's gonna... Like, it's really just the peer pressure. It's literally just everybody saying, like, since fucking high school, you haven't played... And also, people that know me, and know me as the, like, Like I'm the guy that doesn't fuck with items in Smash. Like if I'm playing something, I want to win.
You're gonna like Animal Crossing, but I think you might need it.
That's the, like it's it's like I especially if I do. Half of me wants to get them on the same like both on release date, and then just go back and forth between.
Whenever you get bored in Animal Crossing, you play like 30 minutes of Doom. Doom, and then go back.
Because like I loved the first Doom, but I also didn't realize that it was like as much a puzzle platformer than it was a shooter.
Right.
Like there is a lot more thought than just like point and shoot. So like since Doom Eternal looks so cool, and you get the fucking grappling hook and like the double, like it seems like one of the most video games of all time, and like Doom 1's soundtrack was fucking awesome. So if they just completely copy pasted the soundtrack, I would still be like, cool, worth it. I'm putting on headphones and I will just stand in the middle of nowhere and just listen to fucking like it.
Yeah.
God, and none of these are on the current game of the year.
I was just about
list.
to say, like, well, they showed nothing from either of these games at the Game Awards, as nice as that would have been. But before we completely lose the topic, are there any more winners you want to highlight?
Destiny 2.
Congrats for Smash, and I put Destiny 2 on the list because I figured you were going to mention it.
No, that was the first award of the night. And
I mean, I can't argue that, even as someone who has no interest in playing it. Like, it's clear that they were like, look, like, this is a good game, and we want to convince you that. And then over the course of the last year and the last couple of years, they've really
I mean, I really
because
think
those Destiny in 1 and 2 were probably were popular initially, like at the beginning of the console generation, or at least Destiny 1. Like I remember it being really big, and then it just kind of was like, oh, Destiny's still going, and then
Destiny 1 was
back
like
in
a
full force.
Destiny 1 it came out and everyone was like, this is incredible, and then everyone beat the game on the first day, and you're like, wait, what? And then also just their marketing behind it. Like I mostly blame Activision for this, because since the Bungie and Activision have split, Bungie's been a lot more cool about we're in season, I'm on my second season of Destiny 2. I think we're on season 9 total, the season of Dawn. So the last season and the last big expansion is what brought me back in. That's the Destiny 2 or Destiny 2 2.0.
That's when it went free to play.
Yeah, that's when it went free to play.
Yeah.
That's when they free to play, and then they have the battle pass, and then you also have the actual expansions that you'll pay for. Yeah. So for one thing, the expansions were I paid $30 for the big expansion and then the season of content, and that lasted 2 months ish, 2-3 months.
Yeah.
And then I just did another $10 to get the new season pass, but that's gonna last until February, I think. So I think just the amount of content that you're getting for free, yeah, but if you do want to pay for the content, I feel like it's worth it to invest.
Yeah.
And also just they have they have cosmetics and stuff like that. They do have an in-game storefront, but I remember when I first played Destiny 2, it was a lot more to open whatever your weapon box would be, you had to go to the loot store. You had to go to the microtransaction store. Now it's we're giving you stuff. We're giving you the cosmetics so that you will have to go to the store. But they also have the store in the whatever. But all of this to say, initially we were oh, this is cool that you're have changed the storefront, but also there's not enough that you can get from just in-game rewards. So they're
right.
Cool, you're right. And now they the last week, they've made it way easier to get Bright Dust, the currency that you can use to buy stuff in game. So I'm just y'all are listening. Y'all are listening, responding pretty immediately, and then explaining why you've made the changes that you every Thursday they have the This Week in Destiny, or This Week at Bungie, the TWAB, and I love it. I like being able to know that, okay, the developers are regularly letting us know what's going on, and they hear that this weapon is overpowered, that this ecosystem's not really working out. I love Overwatch, but also shit will we'll go months and months and months without a patch, and then all of a sudden, hey, we're changing the entire way that you play these sets of characters, and you're okay, cool, thank you for freshening up the game, but also it's been months, And if I don't fuck with this change specifically, how long will it take until another change happens where I'm okay with it?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They're very, like, they give a lot of information, those developer updates, but they're never that transparent, which is the annoying thing. Like, that's what I've really liked about, and I didn't expect it. It probably wasn't nominated because it's only been out for the year, but, like, Smash Bros., how Sakurai went from, like, we're going to do fancy reveal trailers to this DLC to just being like, no, I'm just going to, for 20 minutes, show you how this character works.
I myself am going to play on 2 different controllers. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, that's awesome because it's like, it just feels so much more authentic and honest, and like you can't hide anything. Like, and they're not trying to. Like, you don't get that vibe at all, and I appreciate that, especially in the games industry.
Yeah, which is, did you see that? Fuck, I don't remember. Someone is getting. I think it's Nintendo is suing people that leaked out Pokemon shit. Yeah, that has to be Nintendo because it's Pokemon related.
Oh yeah, I did hear about that.
That's a whole. Like, if I walked past a movie set and then, like, took a picture of whatever they were doing, like, I could, put that on fucking Twitter, and that's kind of, like, the movie industry. Like, like...
you didn't sign an NDA, so you're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, I'm not... Like, I'm not breaking any kind of contract. I'm just like, oh, shit, I see they're shooting Joker 2 over there. Cool. Let me show you that Joker 2 is happening.
Nintendo's always been weird about that. Like, they're because on one hand they're so much better and more respectful to the consumers than almost every other video game company, and like I do respect them a lot more than most. But like a few years ago, when games companies were starting to crack down on like YouTubers who had like gameplay and stuff, Nintendo was one of the worst. And not only were they flagging a bunch of people, but they created this partner program that I'm sure doesn't exist anymore. But you could essentially become like a Nintendo content creator. And like the deal that they were having for the player or for like the YouTubers was like terrible. It was like you get like such like a small percentage and you're restricted in so many ways what you can do, and it's like these are just people playing through your games and like giving you free advertising.
That's
like,
my thing.
I get like I this conversation has been going for a long time when it comes to like gameplay and whatnot. Like I think it's pretty clear that it's not making people less likely to buy a game. If anything, it's doing the opposite, but like jury's still out on that. But the main thing is Nintendo was like not following like their whole like not following the industry standard thing is great when it's like DLC and microtransactions, but shitty when it's stuff like this, you know?
I mean,
or like their hesitance to support Smash Bros. Competitive scene for so long, like all that kind of stuff. Like it's just
I mean, I think Nintendo Nintendo power. Sorry, I think Nintendo's power comes from the fact that we grew up with Nintendo more than we grew like I have a Sony, like I got the PlayStation tattoo, but like Nintendo probably has more of my like mental hold. Like if fucking Reggie and Sean Layden were both drowning, I would save Reggie, no questions asked. Like it's one of those just the personal affinity type thing. And I think that like since they have our childhood, they can kind of get away with, like the fact that their online service is so horrible still. Like, we kind of excuse that because it's like, oh, well, it's Nintendo and it's Mario and, like, they're trying to protect the kids and stuff like that. But I'm like, just because you have kids on your service doesn't mean that everyone that's not a kid...
We don't have to keep using friend codes for that reason.
Like, it amazed me when I got the Switch and they were just like, yeah, you get your friend code set up. And I'm like, you need to stop this now. And they're going to have the... Like, I thought since they would have the companion app, it'd be a little bit better and you could just, like... Like, I thought the interface there would be... It's just, they're... And then they get nominated for every game in the Family Awards. Like, no one else is doing what Nintendo does. So, like,
That's the thing. That's the thing. They've just carved out such a perfect spot for them where, like, once you're hooked for life, and then, like, they can just keep doing what they want to do. And again, it's, like, for better and worse. Like, I'm glad they don't do a lot of the things that, like, Activision or EA does, or even Sony or Microsoft. But, like, Jesus, come on. Like
give me some servers, bro.
There's no reason for them not to do certain things, like, having, like, a halfway decent online infrastructure or whatever. Like, but yeah.
And, like, if you're going to push... So, yeah, Nintendo needs to get better online. Yay Smash for winning, though.
Yeah,
but also, the
Smash
fighting game...
Again.
The fighting games category this year was crazy. Like, I didn't play it, so I don't want to... But Jump Force was a game that I was very excited about because it's got all the anime. So if I can make fucking Jotaro fight Naruto, then I'm going to do that. But the game was, like, buggy and like just empty in terms of content, and and from what I'm hearing from like the fighting game, like the people that were playing the game, it just wasn't fun. So like how it got nominated for Game of the Year, I have no idea.
You mean Fighting Game of the Year?
Fighting Game of the Year, yeah. Sorry, I have no idea.
I think in some of those, like, I don't want to speak for every category, but it seems like in certain categories like that, it's just like, well, what fighting games came out this year that people actually played? Well, Jump Force, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was probably just kind of defaulted, you know? Because, like, there are plenty of fighting games, and, like, I'm sure if they had, like, nominated a few more, like, indie fighting games, they probably could have edged Jump Force out of there, but, you know, it's just, it reminds me in a way, like, this is another thing where I'm, like, still kind of trying to figure out, like, where the Game Awards, like, places amongst, like, award shows is, like, the Oscars typically don't nominate, at least in the last couple of years, don't nominate, like, the biggest name stuff, the most successful things. It's, like, there's, like, a more of a prestige to it in that way, which is, in many ways, bullshit. Like, Black Panther being, like, the first superhero movie to be nominated for Best Picture is not only totally deserved, but also, like, long overdue.
Yeah.
But, like, at the same time, I've never really cared much about the Grammys because they literally just nominate the top 40 song, like the top 40 hits and artists, and that's it. And there's like nothing I discover from the Grammys. Like, if like fucking, not that she didn't deserve it, but like if Cardi B puts out an album because she happens to be one of like the 5 most popular rappers right now, it's gonna get nominated for Rap Album of the Year just by default. And like that seems like a little bit like not entirely like that, but it's I got that vibe from the nominee list for a lot of the categories in the Game Awards, which is just like cool, but also like nominate stuff that I am actually likely to play, so I have a stake in the race, but at the same time like help me discover new things, you know?
I think the build, like the show itself, I agree it probably doesn't do a good job of that, but like the build up to the show, like one of my, at this point, like I don't know if we're actually, we're gonna do the loosely defined awards at some point, but like,
I think that's next week, no, 2 weeks from now. I don't know. We might shuffle things around, but
we're
gonna give our awards.
But like one of my nominees for Game of the Year, or several of my nominees from Game of the Year are gonna come from Apple Arcade. I'm throwing that out there now, and one of them, like, it was on, like it didn't win Mobile Game of the Year, I don't think. But I'm pretty sure it was nominated. Grindstone is fucking phenomenal, and I would not have heard about it if not for the just the Game of the Year buzz. Like, also Plague's Tale, like Innocence, A Plague's Tale.
Yeah, I heard about that. I just recently heard about that. I had no idea that existed.
Like that looks awesome. Like I have no idea what the fuck it is, but just the visuals that they were showing at the awards looks cool. And then I've heard great things about Disco Elysium, and then being able to see their devs get up on stage. And to be frank, like I couldn't 1,000,000% understand what she was saying, but apparently she dropped some fucking communism. Like she got up there and like quoted Marx, and then was like, "Thank you for this cat," like for the trophy, and then dipped out. So I think like it's cool to, because also like with in my head the difference between like the movies and games industry is like. With film, like if you're an actor, like your face is on the poster. Like you you're directly associated with the work your movie. And like directors a little bit less so, but they're still like still
ones who
very
typically
prominent
get nominated
figures.
for Oscars are like, usually bigger names too,
So like,
especially after being on that stage multiple times, like he might not be a household name, but I feel like at this point people like know who like Alfonso Cuarón is because he's won like Best Director like 2 out of the last like 5 years, just being on that stage enough times.
Yeah, and I feel like with the Game Awards, like it gives us a chance to like actually appreciate the people that put the work into the games. Like we can watch the credits afterwards. We can like watch their announcements at like E3 and stuff. But I feel like other conferences are more about, hey, we are trying to sell you stuff. Whereas like the Game Awards is still trying to sell us stuff, but it is really like we want to appreciate these developers. We want to I was clapping when
stuff. Part of it is what enables the other stuff to be there.
Yeah, but also so it's like if you go to the Oscars, like there is a chance that like most of the movies or all the movies nominated are just like out of theaters right now, and like you can't like the main money making force has like kind of passed at that point. Like you'll get some like back end stuff on like. I just remembered that Redbox stopped selling games, so that's. I was just thinking about like back end monetization. Fucking like with the Game Awards, like I would not be surprised. Like I would be interested to see the numbers of how many copies of Sekiro sold right after, and the Game Awards, like they have that huge sale on like every fucking platform going into the Game Awards. So like, as much as it is, you know, appreciation and awards and stuff like that, like they can very easily sell. Like this is a group of dedicated people. Like if they're gonna sit here through this 3-hour long award ceremony, like they probably care about games. And it's just like hey, you've heard of this?
Makes you more of a targeted person for that kind of stuff. Yeah. So like, it would just make sense. It wouldn't make sense for them not to do that at the awards, especially if they're gonna fucking. Well, and speaking of being targeted as consumers, let's finally get into some of these reveals and trailers and stuff. Because a couple like some new announcements, some new trailers for things we already knew about. But there's a decent amount to talk about here, so let's.
A lot of Magic the Gathering. We should start with that.
Yeah, I had no idea that happened.
Dude, every fucking if Jeff Keighley like took a sip of water, fucking Magic the Gathering was on screen. Like it was a lot.
I don't know who owns Magic the Gathering, but whoever is, that company seems to be doing a lot lately, because I've seen a lot more just like with the actual card game, like getting like coverage in the like in tournaments and stuff. But also like the Russo brothers are producing like a Magic the Gathering series for the Netflix. Like they're moving into that lane. Clearly they're doing more with games. Like I mean, I know that game is. I know Magic the Gathering's mad popular, but I guess they're finally like, all right, we're gonna really expand this IP. So,
because they have their online Magic the Gathering or Magic the Gathering Arena, Magic the Gathering. That's just such a fucking. Say that 5 times fast and tell me the word gathering doesn't sound like you just made it up.
Yeah, but no, I I understand that.
Yeah, like I don't know. I don't want to talk about Magic the Gathering anymore. Like I thought that I would have like actual things to say.
Have too much about it, yeah.
Yeah, I really thought that there would be some like genuine criticism, and I'm just like, no. Now that I think about it, no, that's just, they're just doing their advertising job. That's fine.
Yeah. What do you want to start with? What stood out to you?
Ghost of Tsushima was disappointing in my opinion.
Okay.
That reveal, especially because at State of Play, they ended on the like the first couple seconds of what we saw at the Game Awards. They did that at Sony State of Play, like on that Tuesday. So like 2 days before, you know, the full reveal, and they're like, oh, go to the Game Awards and fucking watch and find out. And then what we actually saw, I was just like, this is fine. And like,
yeah, it looks like very well made, but I don't know. This kind of hit me because I watched a lot of these trailers like right before we recorded, just like back to back, and like there's just a lot of melee, like close quarters action games with blades and stuff. Like I just
and
like,
I'm very down for that.
Yeah, me too. And the whole time I was thinking like I do generally prefer games that have combat that's like close quarters, and like I prefer melee combat in most games to like just shooters, but and Ghost of Tsushima looks really interesting, but I was going through all the trailers, and then I got to Naraka Bladepoint, which like I never heard of, knew nothing about, and like as I'm watching the trailer, I'm like, okay, so it's another bloody action game with like samurai, but it looks like it has a little more style to it. I'm honestly slightly more interested in that than I am Ghost of Tsushima, especially because, and this is something like I want to touch on for a couple of the games being released next year. Like we're just, now that the consoles are coming out, which we haven't mentioned yet, that's going to be our kind of main topic, is talking about all the new consoles. But like, is this going to be like that weird sort of middle ground? I'm assuming Ghost of Tsushima is going to come out on PS5 like a few months later.
I think it's going to be like
the PS5 is out.
like how GTA 5 and The Last of Us were like, hey, these games are out. Enjoy them for like 3 months. Or you could wait until they're 60 FPS and looking fucking beautiful. Like, wait.
Exactly. So I'm just kind of like confused. Like, is this just like I don't know. Like, Sucker Punch is a damn good developer. Like, I like in terms of being one of PlayStation's, better teams, but it's just coming out at a weird time, and I don't feel like the hype is like fully there. I
honestly think they showed it.
Like, it does look amazing, like in many ways. I want to get it, but I'm not like hyped at all for it.
I honestly think it's because Sony showed it a little too early. Because when they showed that first reveal trailer, it was a lot of, like, in my head, it was the most like new information that we had. It was the reveal, and then you had a pretty sizable trailer for it.
Yeah.
And then they showed a character in the trailer that I've just like been waiting to pop back up, and she hasn't. So I'm just like, okay, so are y'all just showing random bits because this is like, that you need a trailer? Are you trying to build hype for the story? Like, The Last of Us trailers have been fantastic because they're slowly like revealing more and more about the world, and like with Ghost of Tsushima, literally it was just like, all right, dude's a samurai and his name is Ghost, and you knew that from the first trailer. No new information was added. Like we saw brief snippets of gameplay, but none of that gameplay looked compelling to me. Like, the sword stuff is cool, but like I more attribute that to just like sword fighting is cool looking rather than this game has a compelling take on sword fighting. Like, we'll get into Godfall later, but like when I heard the basic description of a looter slasher, I was like, I'm listening, and then I saw the like 15-second clip out of gameplay, and I'm like, okay, so it's really early in. There's no UI on this thing. I don't know if you're like playing on the actual PS5 or if this is still one of those dev kits. Either way, this is now like, I'm hyped for that game now. Whereas with Ghost of Tsushima, I don't know. Like, I've had too much time to think about it, and they haven't given me enough to think about. So I'm just like, okay, cool, this game is happening, but who gives a shit?
That's the thing. I saw the Godfall stuff, and I'm kind of like, I need to be convinced more. But then again, if I end up getting a PS5 at launch, I'll probably end up getting it. But the fact is, I'm about as excited for it as I am Ghost of Tsushima, and we just found out this exists. Like, Ghost of Tsushima, blah, blah, blah. All right. Ghosts is...
Yeah, it's hard to say, right? It's just like Ghosts.
Well, it's coming out, or it got revealed well over a year ago now, 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago.
Like, it's been a while, and I just, like... this is the same issue I've had with a lot of games. Like, I get that they take a while to develop, but, like, don't let the hype die. Like, you got to give us more. You got to keep the interest going. Like, I maybe it's just easier with movies because it's like, well, the movie's being cut together. Do we have 5 minutes we can cut into a 2-minute trailer? Sure, here you go. All right, cool. We get like slowly building up more and more of the movie, and we get excited for it. With games, it's like, we can show you a gameplay section without context, and then we can show you another gameplay section without context. So it's like, what new are you showing us? Like, that, I get that that's a little harder, but I just. I mean,
honestly, I think
like, it's a beautiful looking game. I should be more excited. But like Godfall, it's like clearly more beautiful in terms of like graphical fidelity because it's on the PS5, and it's like a little more unique. I just like on that basis alone, it makes me slightly more excited for that than Ghosts. So
I mean, like, we're gonna get into this a little later, but one of the like things that I'm looking forward to next generation, I was about to say next season, next generation, is like how. Because the early video of the PS5 like tech of just like, yeah, you can be playing Spider-Man, and there are like no load times if you want to fast travel, and you can zip through the city like way faster than like how it's meant to be played, that kind of thing. And I feel like the logical step would be, oh, well, we're just going to make games as photorealistic as possible. And like, games look fucking fantastic right now, but it's still, you'll hit that uncanny valley type thing. Like, I want to see games get fucking weird in terms of their visuals. Like, Ghost of Tsushima looks like, it looks real. It looks great, but it looks fucking, like, it looks real. Like, the dirt on dude's face, and like, you can see the pores and like just a little bit of blood. Like, it's really, really cool that they can do that. But I'm also like, make something. The
environments look incredible to me, but
like, every shot they had, there was some form of vegetation that was like flowing just peacefully and like
But to your point, honestly, like, I I'm no more impressed by that than I was seeing like the like Breath of the Wild when it was first revealed, and like the grass was swaying there. You know, it's just like it's like
I disagree. I think.
Well, I mean, like in terms of literally being impressed by the graphics, yes, but like I like that sort of like environmental detail and whatnot. Like I appreciate more, even slightly more, in a game that also is providing me with a unique art style.
Yes.
Like Breath of the Wild, whereas like Ghost is just really pretty and really realistic. Like I don't mind games that are photorealistic, but you know, if that's all I'm being sold on, you need to do more. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, either that or go full Red Dead Redemption, where like that game, like I would just stand on top of a mountain and just kind of like look around every once in a while. Like it's one of those games. Like Ghost of Tsushima.
It's still very impressive on that, but I think that also comes down to animations. Like, and that's where I'm like kind of like one of the games that impressed. Yeah, poor sentence. I'm gonna try that again. Shadow of the Colossus, way back on the PS2, like always impressed me.
Never heard of it.
It has amazing animations, and even though if you go back and play that game on PS2 now, it's kind of hard to look at. Like it's so over, like it just doesn't age. It didn't age super well. Like like the horse animations as you run through the environment, like are just kind of like satisfying in a way. Like it just, you feel the weight of the characters, you feel like the speed that you're traveling at, and that's like a feeling I got watching that, like the bit in the trailer where he's like riding the horse and it cuts through different environments. It's like more of that. Like if you're gonna continue to just show me the environment and the graphics and stuff, like show me more of that. Don't just keep showing me, you know, dude killing people. Like, but yeah, I
mean, I also think that plays to the like the immersion or the immersive aspect of gaming, and like trying to get the player to the like, I feel like especially with like the super high end gaming PC commercials, it's just like it's like, you're not playing a game, you're actually there. Like you need to fucking like, we're gonna take all the barriers away from like the you know, the screen is just keeping you from your whatever the fuck. I think I have a very specific ad campaign in my head, and I want to send it to you after just to laugh at it because it's fucking hilarious. But like I think if games are pushing photorealism and they're trying to hit that level of like, we want you to just when you're playing our game, we want you to like kind of turn your brain off to everything else and like not have to think about like, oh wait, the fucking light came in off that tree a little weird. Now I'm like, it's like, you know, you're playing a game, but it's just one of those you don't want to think about playing.
Yeah,
bro. Like it's
dude, try not to remind me, you know.
yeah. Like that was the most disappointing thing. Like everything else I was pretty cool with. Like it was either disinterest or yeah.
In terms of like obviously new releases and stuff, but just like the kind of thing, like I don't know if like I probably, if you had described it to me, I wouldn't have been interested in it. Like, but like weirdly, I'm kind of down for Dark Alliance after seeing that trailer. Like I want to know more about that. That looks interesting to me. And Weird West is another one where
Weird West looks awesome.
Like that's a good example of like art design. Like it looks beautiful. Like just seeing like the way like rain is hitting the mud, but it's made all the better because it's got this sort of like almost cell shady type thing going on in certain aspects. And
also quick weird side note, I feel like the game, like a lot of games shown at the Game Awards were like that top down isometric view, like that kind of walking. We're gonna have a lot of games like that next year, I think, just off of like, because Disco Elysium winning, and it was that art style, and there's some mobile game that's apparently really, really good that's in that art style, like the isometric top down. I just haven't played it. I continue with what you're saying. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, I just like that impressed me. Like I said, Naraka Bladepoint looks interesting to me. I did not expect it. Like I just looks like it combines a lot of elements of other games that already exist. But it looks like it's doing it in an interesting way, and like aesthetically, it stands out to me more than Ghost of Tsushima. I think, and I think one of the most like conflicted games I feel about is weirdly going to be Maneater.
I was about to say we should talk about this. The fuck is that? Okay. Why am I hype?
Yeah,
like why did I get excited?
It's okay. My feeling on that is like there's been a lot of like shark games, or even I'll lump like the Jurassic Park type games they've made too, where it's like you get to play as a dinosaur or a shark and like eat people, and I'm like, why does that sound awesome to me in concept? But it seems like something that only is cool for about 5 minutes, and then it's like, oh right, what else can a shark do? And that's that's probably why I'll never play that game. But I'm gonna keep watching gameplay just out of like interest in the barest level of the conceit. But like I
can see this being a super memeable game.
That they're yes, definitely. Like if this is like the violent Untitled Goose Game, I'm here for it.
Yes. Also, the fact that they had best video game tweet of the year as a category of the Game Awards, I thought that was funny.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't see that.
It was pretty funny.
That's good. More stuff like that. That makes me interested. I like that, like direct involvement with the community like that.
So like, what was like? Did you have like a most hype trailer? Like, was Maneater was like interesting?
No, yeah, definitely. I would not call that my most hyped trailer. Honestly, not really. Like to be perfectly fair, there was a lot that I was interested in, but nothing like new really stood out to me in like terms of like the trailer was really good. It was more just like that's an interesting idea. And as for stuff that I was already like aware of, like Cyberpunk having a really cool soundtrack is like cool, but that's not like as big a deal as like the first time gameplay was revealed or whatever. Like I don't think anyone like Final Fantasy Remake I feel about the same about as before. No More Heroes is like cool for fans of that series, but I don't particularly care. Like there's not a lot. Yeah.
I want to go in about this because that was one of the most like that was my favorite trailer from the awards. Like far and away. I had no idea what the fuck was happening. Like we're talking about fucking art style. That looked like Nino, I genuinely was like, "Yo, Nino Kuni's back," but it's not. But like it looks.
For anyone who didn't see, they did like a fake trailer that cut into the real trailer, which is very fitting the tone of that series. So.
Yeah, but I was so, and it's so fucked up because it's one of those like, I didn't play the first two games. Like I have the basic respect for it as it's like one of the Wii's only big boy games. So like I want to give it that respect, but I'm also like, you just showed me the coolest concept for a game I've ever seen, and then you name it like for those that haven't seen it, it's like a little kid finds like an alien buddy, and they like kind of grow up together, and then the alien's just like, I'm gonna go back to my home planet, and then the alien goes back to his home planet, and the kid grows up to a full grown boy, and he like with a fucking job and shit, and then the alien comes back down. And then turns like everyone into these like pink monster things, and he's the kid's just like, wait, you're my friend from what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? And then the alien looks and is just like I'm not a whatever. Like I'm like, and the title card, goddamn superhero. Yeah. To which point, like at that point, I stood up and was like, take all of my money. I don't know what. And then fucking Travis Touchdown breaks through the screen and is like, ha, gotcha. And I'm like, fuck this. Fuck, but now I want if you guys have this tone and this spirit, like I'm in. Like that was one of them like that was a Bobo ass game. Like that they showed initially.
Definitely.
I was like, that is a Bobo ass game, and then it's not. And now it's not. But it might be.
I mean, just the fact that it's on the Switch means I'm more likely to get it, which is true for any game. Very if you release on the Switch, I am more likely to purchase you. That is just how I feel. If I can play you on an airplane, good.
TurboTax for the Switch.
Oh God. Yeah. Honestly, why not?
Yeah.
Right. We've got obviously a major reveal we've got to get to that we haven't touched on yet. But any of the games that you want to shout out before we get there.
I mean, shout out to Fortnite still doing weird, like in-game stuff. Like, did you see the picture of J.J. Abrams' like avatar in the game?
So weird.
It was weird.
So fucking weird.
Like it's starting to hit that like not Second Life, because I'm pretty sure Second Life is still a thing. But like sure. I wouldn't be surprised if like next year Fortnite finally was like, hey, we're adding the character customization. Like you can edit your face, like your base face, and not like
I think it's weird. Like, I get that they don't. Probably the only reason they haven't done that is because they can just keep selling skins. But like, it seems like that's an obvious thing for them to do now. Is like a bit more like personalized character customization. Yeah.
I'm saying just keep the base.
Them doing more Fortnite or them doing more Star Wars content just makes a lot of sense because like that previous thing they did like a month ago was like so bare minimum. So and I actually gonna shameless plug here. I wrote an article for CBR ranking all of the Fortnite crossovers, and in it I mentioned that like this, like I put the Star Wars one like a bit higher than it probably deserved, and the reason I did that was like it's ongoing and Rise of the Skywalker is coming out in like a month, so we're probably gonna get more Star Wars content. So this is like preemptively being put higher than it probably deserves, and you know I'm not saying like oh I was right because it's not that you know. Like, but what I'm saying is, like, it's kind of obvious. Like, they were gonna, like, do something with it, you know? It was, like, similar to how, like, they did the big Infinity War events. Like, no shit, they did an Endgame one. So, you know, I mean, good for Fortnite for having that. It's, like, it did win Best Ongoing Game, which was, like, I think very well deserved because, like, we stopped playing and then Season 2 or Chapter 2, like, did, like, I thought that they've cemented themselves as, like, this is not just, like PUBG changed a lot, but the game itself had a moment, and now that moment is over. Fortnite is like actually one of the biggest games of the frickin' decade. Like, without
it's
a
like
doubt.
if you own a console, you have Fortnite. It is not a question of whether or not you play it is up to you, but like you have it, like it's on your console.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely, yeah. And good for them because they've managed to make it like a game that's worth continued play. I also want to, since we're on this topic of DLC, like Mortal Kombat having Joker is like cool. Like I'm glad that they're doing that because like Injustice had Mortal Kombat characters, so like I'm glad that they're doing those crossovers. But I don't really like. I want Mortal Kombat 11, but at this rate, I'll probably never get it. I like that they have cool guest characters like that. I think it's funny, given like I don't know, like the Joker's popularity like right now, like. It makes sense, but you made this point before we started recording that, like, it's weird, like, how Joker is, like, being considered this movie that isn't a comic book movie, but it just happens to have a character, and meanwhile they're doing, like, the most, like, corporate branding, like, let's put him as a guest character in Mortal Kombat. Like, obviously it's not Joaquin Phoenix's Joker, but it's still just... Which would be fucking like, anyone weird. Who, like... I just think it's funny when people, like, treat the Joker movie like it's some kind of indie. Like, AMC does, like, AMC Artisan Films, which is, like, their program that, like, gets indie movies in more theaters. So when you go on, like, the AMC app and scroll through all the movies, they have this, like, frame that's like AMC Artisan Films, and Joker had that, and I was just like, motherfucker, this is a DC Comics film. Like, I don't care that it's like got an indie feel. Like, it's a DC Comics film that's like aping Scorsese's style, and he's not indie. Like, he's artistic, but he's not indie. Like what about this is artisanal? Like,
well, there's no Batman in it.
Yeah, it's like, well, motherfuckers in Mortal Kombat. I just wanted to make that point. And Marvel... sorry.
Just watching that reveal, I was just like, I don't even play Mortal Kombat 11, and I'm angry. I'm just like, y'all wasted a slot on Joker again, because I'm pretty sure he was in Mortal Kombat 10. Or X, whatever it is. XL.
I don't know about that.
I have no idea.
Anyway, but yeah, then they also revealed the Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 DLC, and I still play that game, but their DLC is taking way too long to come out, and like I want to have interest, but I like hurry up. That's all I have to say about that. Just hurry up.
Ultimate Alliance 3, like I fell off. Like I just stopped caring. When I realized that the skill tree was just like the best upgrades was like, yeah, you increase 5% on your energy stat, and I'm like, okay, so you don't want me to keep playing, so why should I? Like, well,
and honestly, that's games should be allowed to not be games you play for the rest of your life. Like, games can just be like, I have fun with it, I got my money's worth, I'm moving on.
Yeah,
but, like,
I mean,
they're trying to do this DLC, and like, why do I care about you adding new characters if there's nothing more for me to do with them? You know, and I'm not gonna have any incentive to level those characters up.
I mean, and also I think the fact that, like, I slightly disagree with the point of, like, not every game has to be... Like, I agree that not every game has to be, like, your favorite game of all time and you're going to play it forever and ever after that. But I think, especially where Like most games are still $60. Like some will. Like let's be real. If Marvel Ultimate Alliance came out at $40, like with the exact same amount of content, I may or may not have been less inclined to get it at that point because like, oh well, it's like it is a cheaper game and it is like
right.
Like I would have in my head the value would be better in that situation. Like if I did end up buying it for $40, played through it, saw that like the depth that I was looking for initially, wasn't there, then I'd be like, okay, well it's $40, so like it's not a full price game. That makes sense to me. But if you're positioning your thing I'm just like if you're putting your shit on the same storefront as like Fire Emblem, like I'm just thinking about what games were out at that time.
Yeah.
Or like. I mean, no, let's be like more direct, like Diablo, because I feel like Marvel's like the last like Ultimate Alliance 3 specifically was a lot more Diablo feeling than the prior ones, like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2. So like, give me a reason to buy your game rather than Diablo's. I mean, fucking Marvel characters. Never mind. I was looking at it purely from gameplay.
This is an important conversation. I want to put a pin in it just for time, but also because I think we can have a larger conversation about like there's definitely a lot there in terms of like how price affects your expectations and what you feel like your value is of games. And I think games should be allowed to be like smaller, but then you have to like a game like sorry, I'm putting a pin in this because I don't want to get too far into it. But yes, I think we should have this discussion again at some point later because there's a lot there in terms of like how much games should cost and how long do they need to be and like how much do you need to justify their cost and all that.
Especially in 2019.
Speaking of justifying cost, Sony and Microsoft are going to have a lot to do in the next year to justify purchasing either the PS5 or the Xbox Series X at launch.
The Xbox SeX.
And
do you think
I think we can go from this to our main topic, but just real quick because we haven't talked about the Xbox Series X at all. Like, they revealed it.
I thought it was a dope reveal trailer. I was very confused. I mean, okay,
it was impressive, but I just like this isn't even necessarily a bad thing. It's just something that I find funny. Like it just reminded me a bit of like the PS3's marketing campaign early on. Like these new console reveals can get pretty pretentious at times.
Yes, but watching like I assume you clicked on a video that said Xbox Series X reveal, so like
right.
watching the Game Awards and then just seeing the graphics of and I don't assume that they were trying to say that like the visuals that they were showing off are representative of what the Xbox One X or Series X can do. Fuck their branding. I don't. Okay,
that's the reason it's bad. Imagine you're a fucking like you don't even have to be a fucking grandmother who doesn't know shit about video games. Like let's say you know enough. Like you like Xbox as a brand and you want to get the new one. But you don't know everything about it, and you go into the store and there's Xbox One X and Xbox Series X. How are you supposed to know which one is newer? Like just off of that, like I clearly like you can talk to an employee and figure it out from there. But like they should be more aware. Like we saw what fucking happened to the Wii U, and I don't think the same thing is gonna happen here at all. But like it's the same issue where it's like, why didn't you just fucking call it something that has even just an ounce of more clarity to it, you know?
Go really, 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 really fucking hard and just call it like the Xbox 2. Oof. Fucking, I don't know.
I was expecting that.
The Xbox Revolution,
on
something
Twitter
like
that they should have called it the Xbox 720 because it would have like felt like the 360 is clearly their most like iconic console.
Yeah.
So like it, you could kind of market it as like a sequel to that.
Well,
plus, it's like got a name that doesn't confuse with the other names, I mean, like
the 720 is what we were calling the Xbox One before, or at least what I was calling the Xbox One before it came out.
Well,
so that
like,
makes sense.
It was like the assumed title, the way people call PS5, and honestly, eventually in 10, 20, 30 years, it's going to get ridiculous when we're on PS10. But like, I'm glad exactly. It won't be confusing. It'll be a little funny, but it won't be confusing. Like and good for PlayStation for just being like, no, PlayStation's a good name. This is the fifth one. All right.
Yeah. Have you seen the?
It's not the 4, it's the 5. Not confused anymore. Cool. Like let's move on.
Hey, can you count?
Should not be the. Yeah, like this Xbox reveal is nowhere near as bad as the Xbox One reveal. Like it is significantly better. Hellblade 2 looks cool. I like the pretentious aspect of the trailer. Like did make me chuckle a little bit, but like it still worked.
Again,
like, it looked impressive. And
I think
like,
if you were watching it, I think if you were watching it without knowing that it was the reveal for the Xbox Series X, like when they showed the weird like clear box thing, like the prism or whatever, and I'm like, okay, is this like a sequel to No Man's Sky? Like I genuinely was like, okay, this is some kind of game still, and then they like, I don't remember the exact
honestly,
effect, but like the
reminded
reveal.
me of what was that Project Spark game that they were like pushing on the Xbox One. I
don't remember that at all.
It was like this thing. It was like a game creating tool, sort of, and like it like you. They had like a thing where you could like mold the biome and like the geography of the place and like everything. Okay. And it just reminded me of the bit in the trailer where like it was like crossing through like the pebbles in the ground and stuff, and things were like morphing as it did that. Like that's what it reminded me of. So honestly, like I thought as I was watching it, even knowing that it was the Xbox trailer, I was like, are they building up to like? Are they also showing me like a game right now, or is this like just showing me the graphics on the console?
I don't know.
But I do want to get into what we already mentioned a little bit before with games visuals and being at least more aesthetically appealing. Like what I'm being sold on so far with really both of these systems is just the graphics are going to be even better. Great. What else is new? Like that is like my biggest like wish for the next console generation is just something new. Like what is going to set this generation apart from the previous one and the one before that, other than graphical fidelity? Because like the PlayStation 4 had the whole share feature, which is cool, but it didn't become so important to the console as they clearly initially thought, with the fact that you have like a share button on the controller. Like,
I mean, and also everyone, like the Xbox has a share button and the fucking Switch has a share button, even though Nintendo doesn't want you to capture any of their gameplay because they're Nintendo. Like,
yeah, like it's just like it's there, but it's not as like it's not console defining in the way they clearly intended it for it to be. And you know, Xbox One had the big like it is your all-in-one system and you control it all with Kinect, and they just backtracked entirely from that. So like, what is gonna be the thing, if anything? Because I love the PS4 and like the Xbox One has more than like earned its place after all the initial like controversy with it. But like those like my PS4, as much as I love it, does just feel like my beefed up PS3, like with a better online infrastructure. But what is the PS5 gonna do other than have a really weird design? And I guess that's not finalized yet. But like,
I hope it is. I love the look of the PS5 right now. If it's all real,
we've talked about that. But yeah, like I don't know. Like what do you think they could even bring that like surprises us? Like it's hard to say. Like we're not fucking console developers. Like we don't know what kind of craziness they can come up with, but like what is it going to be? Like what is really going to set this generation apart, you know?
I don't like it sounds not that exciting, but I feel like the focus on processing power is really actually going to show some crazy like I'm just thinking about so like when Horizon Zero Dawn came out, one of the like just technical things they did to make that game look so fantastic, because it is still like like Red Dead exists, but like I still would say that Horizon Zero Dawn is like arguably the best looking PS5 game, even still or PS4 game.
Yeah.
But Horizon Zero Dawn 2 on PS5, holy shit. So basically what they would do is if this is Aloy, they'll give you this field of view as like the camera or whatever, and they'll limit the rendering to everything within the field of view. So if you like, it's not like everything is still rendered and then you're just moving your model through like this environment. It's like it's actively rendering what's in front of you. It's like to make it so like so that the draw distance is so far, and like like in the more dense areas, like it's very like there are no compromises being made from what you're looking at. So I feel like if you can, like that's a very creative way to get around some of the limitations on like the already pretty powerful PS4 compared to like when it first came out. Like I want to see what they can do, like I don't, like just the weird tricks like that to boost.
Yeah, like how will that affect like how games feel to play? You know,
like I mean I have no fucking idea, but I'm just gonna kind of go into this generation with the expectation of just like, hey, it's going to be more of the same, and I'm fine with that. But it'll be like no. If the PS5's main selling point was, hey, Destiny 2 with no load times, sold immediately. But I also think it's not going to be like the strict like console generation or console wars anymore.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be mostly like in terms of the overall like package that you can. Because I saw something that said if the Xbox Series X launches with like a year of Games Pass, that's gonna make the PS5 obsolete with it like from the jump.
Huge.
Like
that's huge.
If they're two exact, two consoles priced exactly the same, only one of them comes with a year of the Netflix for games, like the greatest or not
right,
like arguably the best fucking like I don't even know what you would call it, just
subscription service.
Yeah,
like games like yeah,
because like you have
versus individually purchasing games.
Yeah, like you have Uplay, which has all the Ubisoft games, but like it's only Ubisoft. You have EA Play, fuck EA. You have like PlayStation Now that they can.
That's the thing. I think PlayStation Now, if like, is going to be the biggest like opportunity they have to like, in the same way you just said, Xbox can bury PlayStation with Game Pass. PlayStation Now like they've said is going to be a big part of their plan moving forward with the brand in general. So the idea of PlayStation Now being something that works and is much more like Games Pass is clearly better now, but PlayStation Now in concept is the more literally the Netflix for games than Xbox, Games Pass, because it's like actually streaming like a unique content. Like you get my point.
And like if let's say consoles come out the exact same price, the online subscription and like Game Pass and PS Now, exact same price, it kind of still comes down to fucking exclusives like it did in generations past.
Exactly. Like it always ends up becoming,
like, oh no, they're giving me Assassin's Creed Odyssey on Xbox Games Pass, but like I'll never be able to play God of War 2. I'll never be able to play Horizon Zero Dawn 2. I'll never be able to play fucking Godfall, which I'm trying to stop myself from getting overly hyped because I feel
learn more first.
Yeah, literally, like I feel the same way I felt after I saw the first Destiny reveal, because I was just like, oh shit, this is about to be my favorite game of all time. And then the first one came out and shat the bed, and then the second one came out and like only pissed the bed, but like still didn't make it to the bathroom. And then Shadowkeep came out, and finally I'm like, okay, you've made me happy.
Well, I want to go back to a point you made when we opened up this discussion, that I don't want the console war to be a console war, and like I think we've been moving away from that in general. And I honestly like good and bad. We were talking about Nintendo being different before, and one of the things we said was good about them is how they kind of are like more open and like they're not a part of the console war. They haven't been for a bit now. So like I like and I think I have a lot of respect for Microsoft opening up in a similar way, specifically with Nintendo in terms of having Cuphead and other like Microsoft things, letting Banjo into Smash Bros. Like these things that show that they're competitors, but they're not competitors. There is room for both, and and Sony's been the one that seems a little more like hesitant to do that, but they have kind of started, at least more recently, opening up the doors. So like, for starters, I want like cross-play on any game that would make sense for it. Like that's just like a bare minimum. Like let me play Overwatch with my friends on Xbox Series X or whatever, and wherever it makes sense. Like if like PC doesn't go with console, like I get that, but like
no, I was gonna say on top of that, I think like mouse and keyboard support for the consoles is going to be like a standard thing next generation, so it'll help with the cross-play integration that way.
But more stuff like that, like and that's the thing. I want a reason to buy multiple consoles. Like I've always had Nintendo and Sony, but I've always been like I've never not wanted an Xbox except for like around launch. Like I didn't give a shit about the Xbox One, but like if there was like a major sale, like buy an Xbox One for $100, I'd probably do it. Like, but the thing is, I've never been into Xbox exclusives. But if they can just focus on their exclusives and giving me more content that's unique, and other than that, my multi-platforms, all that shit is mostly the same across the board. Like, I want that to be my reason to buy an Xbox. I don't want it to be like, which like console is Assassin's Creed going to be slightly better on, you know? I'd much rather the focus be on like, let me get a PlayStation for Horizon, a Switch for Mario and Zelda and Smash, and then like an Xbox for Hellblade or Halo or whatever. Like, I want to feel like I'm getting these consoles for their unique offerings, not for being the best of the same offerings.
I mean,
you know
I think the point you just made in terms of the exclusives with Xbox and like wanting the Xbox for that reason, and I the more I say this, the more I'm just like, I need to remember where the fuck I heard this, and I need to know if this is actually legitimate or if I'm just hyping myself up for something. But also, it makes sense to me that since Nintendo and Microsoft have kind of been more buddy-buddy recently.
Yeah.
Like, I've heard rumors of, you know, xCloud coming to Switch eventually. And like Ori and some other like smaller Microsoft exclusives like would keep coming to the Switch, and then eventually, you know, xCloud full-on integration that way.
Full-on streaming at Microsoft Xbox games to your Switch.
Yeah. So like in my head, if that were like if that shit went on right now, like that, you know, in my head that would be a reason not to buy the Xbox Series X.
Yeah, honestly.
Like I'm just being real, because like if for one thing, like even this year where games were not as like standout amazing, like I still like I was kept busy. Like I felt like I had a lot of stuff to play, and I felt like at any point I was like not giving enough attention to one game or whatever. So I feel like if next generation, it can just be like my PlayStation is my, like, it's my PlayStation. Like I am a PlayStation gamer. Like this is my primary. And then for any game that is not on PlayStation, I have my Switch. Like that would be pretty dope in my head. I'm just not sure if that's going to, like, how far it's going to go, you know?
Yeah, especially now that Microsoft did, like, after the 360, they had a lot of brand loyalty, and they've got a lot less now than they did at that point. So it'll be interesting to see, like, whether they decide to try to reclaim that, or, like, because when you think about it, they can still make plenty of money by charging people monthly for xCloud for, like, people who own Switches.
Oh, absolutely,
and maybe that might even be financially better for them, and maybe this ends up being the last Xbox console, and they just move into doing that kind of stuff, and, like, you know what? I mean, it's Microsoft. They still make money off of PCs and stuff like that. So it's not like they're going to go broke because the Xbox, you know, is less appealing than the PlayStation or the Switch. But
I mean, I also know that that Xbox has been trying to distance. I mean, not distance, but like position like Xbox as a separate entity than Microsoft, because like they really did want to. Because I know that when they had the Xbox. Like you with Windows and Xbox games, like you'd be able to play them on your browser or whatever, not browser, but on your Windows 10 OS. There we go. I couldn't think of whatever the fucking term was. And I forgot exactly where the fuck I was going with that. That's really upsetting.
Well, it'll be it's interesting because even with the what's it called, xCloud, being able to play Xbox games and other things. You know, you can do that with PlayStation Now, too. Yeah. Like, you can get PlayStation Now on your PC and not own a PlayStation, which is, like, more stuff like that would be... I mean, and Nintendo, who used to be very, like, no, our exclusives are exclusive. Like, now they have mobile games and stuff like that. So, I think that they're starting to realize that as the consoles are becoming less and less necessary to play games, they need to start focusing less and less on, like, being the best console and instead just being the best video game company, full stop. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I you know, and that's where, when it comes to the actual exclusive games, if you just make the best exclusive games and don't make this whole, like, you know, play this DLC content of Arkham first on our thing, like, just like, no, you know, you can play Arkham wherever you want, you can play this or that wherever you want, but, you know, just if you want to consider us instead of Xbox, we've got Horizon 2 and God of War and Uncharted. Like, no big deal. No, just award-winning games. Just, you know.
No big deal. Just kind of like generation-defining games. You know, you're probably going to name your kid Aloy at some point, but it's fine. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, like that's what I would prefer.
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like when, like, PlayStation this generation, like, they had to do was not fuck up. Like all they really had to do was not sell a broken console, and they just had to sleepwalk through this generation. Really, like they're coming off the heels of fucking The Last of Us, like coming off the heels of one of the greatest games of all time, going into this next generation. Like Xbox 360 started out winning with that generation, and then like with PS Plus, like it got hacked for like a year and a half, but also it was free the entire time. So like once like when the Xbox Red Rings of Death, like I the Xbox died, like mine died, and then I spent however many weeks trying to research how to fix it, and then I was like, fuck this. PS4 or the PS3 like went on sale, like they had the new remodel or whatever. And then with the Xbox One X, it was just everything that people did not want. And like Sony was just like, hey, we're still doing our thing. We'll be fine. like I saw for the like a meme where like talking about the naming for the next generation consoles. Just Sony's was really like, hey, like, you know, we have the PS4. You want to just call it PS5? Yeah, cool. All right, cool. And then Microsoft is like Charlie Kelly on the board, fucking like, okay, like I feel like if they just need to like stop thinking too much. Just like we want to play games. Just let us play fucking games. Like don't put a camera and microphone in our living room that is going to listen to us at all times. Like sure, it will. Yeah. I still think their initial vision of what the Xbox One would have been, like the home hub of just you walk in, hey, turn on the TV to this channel, blah 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 blah, adjust volume to this setting. Like that is kind of where we're going now.
We have like Google Home and Amazon, not Siri, Alexa, in, like all these houses. Like they, that if I have thought this for a few years now, that if they had revealed the Xbox One today, people would be so down for it.
Oh, absolutely.
People would be so down for it, but it was just scary and weird and too new at the time. Like they were kind of ahead of themselves. And to be fair, it was too much of a transition from the previous generation. All the focus on like watching sports and watching TV and not games was like not a good move.
It's like shut up and show me Halo. Like what are you doing?
But agreed, like the actual like idea like would totally was on the right track. Like that's clearly what the future is now for like home electronics like that, you know.
And I think that since the new Xbox damn near looks like an Alexa, so I'm just like, it looks like evil Alexa.
Like, I mean, the main thing is it looks like a centerpiece. I think that's the thing. Like, I saw a tweet that was like, I hate upright consoles. Like, why would you make a console upright? Like, that can't fit on a shelf, which is like valid. But I think they want you to have your Xbox Series X like out. Like they want it to be like a noticeable thing, which is probably impractical and maybe will hurt them in the long run, and they'll probably release a slim version like everyone does.
Absolutely,
or like a flat version rather. But I think that I get what they're going for, and in concept, I'm cool with it.
God, I'm imagining them re-releasing the Xbox Series X, but in the exact same casing as the Xbox One S. So it's like super small or whatever, and they'll call it like the Xbox Classic or some bullshit, and people will eat it up.
They're just gonna get even more confusing though. I think it'll be interesting. I think a big question mark on this next generation is how Nintendo responds, because since the launch of the Wii U and all that, like the Wii U was kind of launched to make up for the fact that the Wii wasn't as powerful as the PS3 and the 360, but it came out at a time where it ended up being competing with the PS4 and the Xbox One. And then the Switch released to really be the competitor to the PS4 and Xbox One, but in a different way, not in like a graphics and performance way. But then now, only 3 years after that's out, we're getting the PS5 and new Xbox. So it's just like Nintendo's clearly just no longer in the cycle of the console generations the way they were before.
Yeah, they're just doing their own thing.
Are they gonna respond to these new consoles? Like what? Like not literally, but like, will we see a Switch 2 or a Switch Pro or Deluxe or whatever? Like we've got the Lite, which makes sense. They've always done kind of like with their handhelds, like budget versions of them. I like DS Lite, 3DS, 2DS rather. So we've got that, but are we gonna get like the Switch XL, like we had the 3DS XL, or the new 3DS rather is probably more of a better comparison. Like, I don't know.
I mean, I personally think that they're gonna keep going more toward the like slim and the light version. Like I feel like they're gonna start because the Switch Lite was like it's handheld only, doesn't have the fucking Joy-Cons, can't connect to the TV, but like that sells extremely well. And now that Nintendo's started selling Switches in China like last week before that, China is like a very, very, very like mobile games market. Like they play either PC games or mobile games. So if you can hit that, like we're better than your phone. Like to me, all Nintendo has to do to like sell, like make the Switch seem better than, because also mobile games have actually like after a while I started hitting the point where I'm like, do I want to play my Switch or do I want to play something on my phone real quick? Like I feel like
mobile games are very good.
Yeah, like Apple Arcade is fantastic. I don't want to keep promoting something that I'm not like. It's very good. I enjoy it very much. Yeah. They're not paying me, but they should.
Unofficial sponsor of Loosely Defined.
Yeah, shit. Apple. Tim Cook, if you're hearing this, no.
I promise you, I'm recording this on a Mac and not a PC.
Yeah.
Wink.
Honestly,
for our audio listeners. But yeah, I think I hear what you're saying. But my thing is what they do to sell themselves as better than a phone while still being mobile is the fact that, and they've been doing this so much more recently, is like we finally got Overwatch on the, like no one thought Overwatch would run on the Switch, and it does. We've got fucking like, they're pumping like every old Assassin's Creed game on there. Like we've got The Witcher 3 on there. We're gonna get Overwatch 2. Like we're really getting like not just console. I mean, we already had console quality games on the Switch. Like it is a console. Zelda is a console game. Mario is a console game, and the fact that you can play them handheld is dope. But
also
like,
you kind of,
we're getting like PlayStation 360, like Xbox, like type of console games on Switch now, and they seem to be doing more and more of that. And if they want to continue to have that appeal going into the next console generation, they need to have a system that can handle, maybe not, it'll still be downgraded, but games that can compete with PS5 and Xbox Series X games. Like they need to be able to run that stuff in order to keep this aspect of it. Maybe they decide to move away from it and it was just like a thing we got now and eventually it won't be that. But like the idea of, like you said, being able to play like xCloud games on your Switch, like maybe they'll rely on streaming to do it, but even then that has some issues. But I think it makes so much sense to me for them to put out like a higher performance Switch at some point in the next couple of years.
Yes.
It probably won't come out next holiday, but like maybe a year or two into the next generation.
Yes, but I don't think it's going to be for the TV. Because let's be like, they don't have any handheld competitors in terms of like actual like gaming handheld consoles anymore. Like I've been following this, it's called the Analog, and it's like a little like emulator for a bunch of old games. It looks like an old Game Boy. I want one. It's fucking dope. But like, unless you're like a Kickstarter, we're selling this very specific thing to like 30 people, and then we're gonna not do this anymore. Like, there is no real competitor for Nintendo in the handheld space, and to try to push themselves, like they're already behind in terms of, like they've been behind in terms of graphics. They've been behind in terms of online game. Like
online,
in terms of online stuff. And like you bringing up Overwatch on Switch and like The Witcher and all that stuff on Switch, I'm like, the only reason I would, and I'm saying if I didn't have these games already, the only reason I would get it for the Switch is like instead of the PlayStation would be to play it in handheld. Like,
right.
And when you brought up Breath of the Wild and Mario Galaxy, like Breath of the Wild was the first game on the fucking Switch, and it chugged horribly on the TV. Like it was.
I really didn't have that issue.
I mean, I also was like, I liked playing with fire in that game, so like I did push it. Like it wasn't like a. But there are also some bits where I would just go into an open field and I would like feel chugs or not like
really.
Link himself wouldn't chug.
I haven't had
these
like kind
some
of performance
stutters.
issues with the Switch. Like even playing like some of the like port games, like Skyrim ran just as well as it
Skyrim
ever did
looks
on
fantastic.
my PS3. Like, I'm playing Assassin's Creed 3 on it now, and it runs. That was already a pretty glitchy game to begin with, but it's running perfectly fine. I haven't had any issues. Like, I
mean, my issue specifically is that they're playing better.
Yeah.
Like Switch games I've yet to, like, other than like Astral Chain, which in my head is just unplayable handheld. Like, I prefer playing most of my games in handheld mode because of the like. If they scale it down, but also I think something in that scaling, like Zelda looks just as good in my hand, but it's way smoother.
I disagree.
I
disagree. I think it looks great on a TV, personally.
I mean, I'm not saying it doesn't look great. I'm just saying, like,
in general.
But I'm saying going to Overwatch, like that game on, and if we're thinking about just in terms of performance that would actually benefit the gameplay, like it's you know, if they released XCOM on the Switch and they're like, oh yeah, it's gonna only run at like 30 frames instead of 60 frames, I'm not gonna be like, bullshit. Like, it's, you know, it's a turn-based thing. I don't need the smoothness of the graphics, but like with Overwatch, especially if they try to do crossplay or something like that, like I would feel at a disadvantage running 30 frames per second on my Switch rather than 60 frames per second. And also, if I can play it on my PlayStation with better graphics and better performance, better online infrastructure, like why would I do that if not for the unique selling proposition of being able to hold it in my hands? Like, everything that you would use the Switch for in docked mode, I feel like is worse than any other console. So like they should position themselves away from that.
I do disagree on that sense, because there are plenty of Nintendo games specifically that are worth playing on TV. That like you wouldn't get the same experience out playing at handheld.
Smash.
I mean, just off the top of my head, Smash, Mario Kart, multiplayer games like that, couch co-op games. Again, like I personally feel like Zelda's worth playing on the TV. But the main thing is it's about having that option, and I think the selling point of this, like, I get how they're probably going to move a little bit more towards handheld with the Switch Lite doing so well. And you can see that in a lot of their games. I mean, like, certain things like Mario Rabbids, like Kingdom Battle, doesn't need to be played on TV. Like, I got Assassin's Creed 3 on it to play it handheld, not to play it on my TV. But the main thing is it's having that option. Like, I still get a huge thrill out of putting my Switch in my dock and seeing it appear on my TV, or like getting done playing on my TV and grabbing it out of the dock and just walking out. Like that is still satisfying to me. And if you can continue to give me that feeling with even higher and higher quality games, like it'll be well worth it to me. And like that's the thing is, I like you were for a while like really trying to push me getting Witcher on PlayStation instead of Nintendo Switch, and I totally get it. But at the same time, it's like I will take the like downgraded like graphics and performance in order to also be able to like take it with me when I leave and go on the train. You know, like especially for single player games. I agree. Overwatch will never be worth playing on Switch versus something else. But it's cool that people who don't have PlayStations have the option, and the option to play it handheld. Like, I don't think more options are bad in that sense.
True.
But
I mean, I'm thinking from a Nintendo standpoint in terms of the money that they would be putting into this.
Yeah.
I'm just like, if I'm Doug Bowser, I would much rather push a, like, or honestly, maybe they do upgrade. Like, if they were to do the Switch Pro or the Switch Plus or whatever, I think it would be one of those, like, we're going to make the handheld screen 1080p, 60 FPS, and then when you dock it, it's just more stability. Like, I don't...
Right.
Like, I would see them making the actual... Like, I could see them releasing just the Switch Plus or whatever, and like with new Joy-Con 2.0s that like actually feel good. And like you wouldn't have to get a new dock, because the dock would essentially just do the same shit because the base thing is better. Like, I feel like they're gonna start like I agree with the more options bit, but I'm also like I'm just like, will Nintendo actually do that? Like, to me, it's not so much like, is this a good idea? Like, I agree it's a good idea. It's just I don't think Nintendo's gonna like pull it off.
Interesting. I can see what you're saying. I want to disagree with you, but the thing that's holding me back is Nintendo does make these types of decisions. So I mean, it's a good point. I want to believe that they see the lane that they can go down, and they would take it, you know, rather than go the easier option. I just think like, you know, I'm at the point where if a game comes out on Switch and PlayStation, I am now like starting to say I will get it on Switch instead. And like I think they can keep that momentum going. And like the idea of like every game should be on the Switch just so I can play it docked and handheld is like a very appealing prospect to me. And I know we're not going to get there fully, but you know, if the Switch continues to sell,
yeah.
Well, there you go. But if the Switch, I've believed for a while that like the Switch could really change console gaming in the sense of like, I could totally see the PS5, and it doesn't look like we're getting it, but maybe eventually in a different update or the PS6, like doing the Switch thing of being like a handheld and a console hybrid.
I mean,
like
Sony has straight up said that they're not trying to do handhelds anymore. Even though it's a hybrid, I don't see them.
Well, that's
trying.
what I'm saying though. Is like I could see that being the future of console gaming, or rather gaming specific devices, is like whether it's in the form of streaming to your phone or whatever it is, whether it's xCloud or just actually docking and undocking the Switch. Like Nintendo right now is the market for that, and they're eventually going to lose that exclusivity, you know, as like xCloud comes out and you can start, you know what I'm saying? While they are currently the only way to play console and console games as a handheld in a reliable, consistent way, they need to really make sure they're going to cement themselves in that, or not, because that's what Nintendo does.
No, that's a very good point.
They don't do that sometimes. They don't take those opportunities. They just do their thing. But yeah, like I'm very yeah.
Yeah, that is an extremely good point. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
And we can move off of that. And
I mean, this is more like a very broad prediction. I feel like one of the two, maybe both. Like they'll sell the console, and it'll either the controller itself will have a clip within it where you'll like pull it out and then be able to put your phone in. But like I think the controller clip and phone is gonna like be in the box, like not the phone obviously, but like the like maybe it's just
especially if they're launching xCloud as like a part of the Xbox Series X. That seems like a given. Yeah, I agree.
Like I don't see a world where that. I mean, not that I don't see. I if I was Phil Spencer, I would be saying that just out of like, hey, this is a good idea, and also we want to reinforce that this is a part of the Xbox brand, that it isn't just you know. Like, take your controller with you wherever you go. Like, you can... Like, that is your Xbox. Like, the controller is the Xbox. And that's kind of what Stadia wanted to do, but they fucking suck.
Well, and that's sort of what the Switch and the whole Joy-Cons thing is, too. Is it's like, you have your Pro Controller, but at the end of the day, you don't need it. Like, you can just play with the Joy-Cons, then put them on the system and take it with you. Yeah. And, like, that's, like, your controller is your system. Like, the fact that the Switch, when you picture the Switch, what you're actually picturing is the Switch and the controllers. Yeah. But yeah, like
just the tablet and the Switch. Yeah. And honestly, like as I'm fucking looking at my Switch right now, like I love it. Like the fact that it's just the screen and it can play fucking. Like I'll never play it on Switch, but like just
it can run The Witcher.
Yeah, this can play The Witcher. Just it's finished shit. Like it's insane. Yeah. And I'm not gonna put it back in the dock because it'll definitely turn my TV on.
Yeah, I think the streaming, we talked already about PlayStation Now and Games Pass, but I think the streaming will really be a good way of getting to something I really want to see, which is more support for backwards compatibility. And I've kind of accepted the fact that we're not just going to get a PS5 that can run PS4, PS3, and PS2 games like by disc. You know, it's probably not going to be that simple. But if you can continue to, if like PlayStation Now and Games Pass were just like, if they had no new games on it and it was just like the classic PlayStation library, but it was robust and had like everything like all the classics, I would consider that well worth paying $10 a month for. Because then it would be like, well, I don't have to go back and buy those games, but I have them on my new system, and this can be like, even though it's a PlayStation 5, I can just call it my PlayStation. Yes. And it can be the definitive console. So like I have my feelings on like digital only stuff and moving away from that kind of thing. But if that's what game streaming can provide for me as someone who wants to be able to continue to play my older games, I am so here for that. I mean, I'm really hoping that they really kind of go hard on that front and make these streaming services a method of being backwards compatible.
I mean, Xbox, from what I understand, is looking to release like a discless like it will not accept physical games, so it's only going to be a streaming box.
Yeah, that'll happen eventually. I mean, it's
I'm thinking I wouldn't be surprised if they launched their like the Xbox Series, just like, so you have the Xbox Series X, and then you'll have the Xbox Scarlet or whatever, and then you'll also have the discless Xbox, the Xbox Mini or whatever the fuck. Like, as much as...
I mean, that totally has worked for Nintendo, so
yeah, but it's
I
also
don't see
gonna...
why they wouldn't do that.
I'm worried that it would... Like, as much as, like, I would be down with that level of change and, like, having several consoles out in the ecosystem at once, I'm like... Imagine fucking Christmas time, and your kid is just like, I want the new Xbox. Yeah. And then you go to GameStop, and you're like, okay, what's the new Xbox? Yeah. And then they point you to a wall, and they're like, no, the new one.
That would be a lot better if your only option for buying games wasn't fucking GameStop, where they're going to upsell you, which is like another thing. If you could go to your local game store and have a helpful person tell you what is best for you, that'd be great. But and that's not the reality we live in, unfortunately.
It's like, I'm trying to figure out if physical game retailers are going to like take, because I know that GameStop is doing their whole repositioning thing into more of a esports and like experiential, like you come to GameStop to hang out, not just to buy games type thing.
Yeah.
I feel like the one local game store I've ever been to, like as I like had to go out of my way because I like wanted to fucking see what it was like inside this place, and it was weird.
Yeah.
It was like I want to support this. But also, you like don't have the games I'm looking for right now, and like they position themselves as like a retro, like indie store, and I was like, this is cool for game preservation. Like there's a copy of like OG Mega Man, like that's awesome. Not interested. That's awesome though. I'm like
for someone that is very good.
Yeah, like
someone out there.
If I was 10 years older, I would be crying right now. But I kind of want to touch on your point. Of Bethesda needs to not suck next generation. Yeah. I love the way you put that.
That is a very just personal thing because I like am so fucking excited for Elder Scrolls 6, but only because it's Elder Scrolls 6. My actual like hopes for it are very low. Like I am terrified because Fallout 76 was such a train wreck, and like even Fallout 4 wasn't like the kind of successor to Fallout 3 or New Vegas that people really wanted.
It was just more Fallout.
Like I want Skyrim 2 or Oblivion 3 or Morrowind 4. Like I want the next Elder Scrolls game. I don't want Bethesda to fuck it up with all of their recent practices of just doing nonsense like they did with 76. So I'm just
and they're still doing with 76.
I'm just praying and hoping that Bethesda can just make a fucking good game that's deep and immersive like all the other ones, and not try to sell me on some bullshit. That is like I have like a part of our notes is I made a long list of games, sequels, stuff I want. Like we know we're getting Elder Scrolls 6, so I didn't put it on there. But like I am just nervous for it, but if it does come out and it is just like the next Elder Scrolls game that is, performs better, has more like is just a more well developed game because it's newer, like it just that's what I want. I don't want fucking Elder Scrolls 76. Please no. Like nothing like that.
At this point they
keep all that to ESO. Like
at this point like they can't afford it because they've Did you hear about the fucking patch that just went out that if you reload your weapon in Fallout 76 your defense like goes down? So like the more you fucking shoot, the more like literally it showed someone like they shot their rifle a few times and then like zoomed in on their defense, and then he reloads and goes from like 515 to 430, and I'm just like, what the fuck?
Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Like so out of the games,
none of that, please.
Like out of the games on your list, like what are you most hoping for? Like what do you want the most? Like what would be the thing that like pushed you to go out and get it right now? Like go out and get the next generations.
I mean, just looking off of the stuff on my list, I think like a big system seller for me, and it would probably be multi-platform, would be Skate 4.
I just want to stop saying that so that we can not let hope fill the air.
I don't think it's gonna happen, and it would be EA anyway, so it'd be questionable. But I wrote down Skate 4 or Tony Hawk. Like I was on a Twitter thread earlier talking about Tony Hawk games, and I was like, fuck, some of these were like really good. Like they had like stories that were actually worth playing, but also they were sports games where you could compete and like just focus on the skating aspect of it. And then Skate, I didn't really play Skate 1, but Skate 2 and 3 were like amazing open world games that were skating games, and like there was so much to them, and they just like they were physics based too. So now that physics are getting better in games, like graphics are getting better. Like we like Skate 4 seems like such an obvious get. Like I get skating isn't as popular as it once was, but like
Skatebird can bring it popular, back.
Like I mean, maybe. And honestly, like if Skatebird can scratch my Skate 4 itch, then by all means. But yeah, if they were to reveal that Skate 4 was coming out at launch, I would damn near consider buying a PS4 at launch just for Skate 4. But also like a pipe dream, but I'm still hoping we might get a chance of seeing it, is some sort of... I wrote down PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale 2, but really what I mean is... let's try that again. Like, not a sequel, but like let's do Sony Smash Bros. Again. You don't even have to call it PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale, but give me like a big Sony crossover, because we've only gotten more good Sony exclusives since that.
I was about to say, like, I want Aloy
in there.
Yes.
You can have Kratos or fucking Atreus in there, let alone Kratos.
No, I mean,
like,
Kratos was in the original. You can have old Kratos and then new Kratos with the Leviathan axe. Like,
exactly, and I'm saying like Atreus as his own character, or being just like an assist for old Kratos or something. Like, just there's so much you can do with it. It's just
Spider-Man.
Either that, or Sony needs to jump on Microsoft's path and just put those characters in Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Like, it just like there's so like Sony has the potential to do it, and they fumbled the ball so much with All-Stars Battle Royale. So I just want them to go for it again in some fashion.
Do you think the fact that it's...
it doesn't have to be a fighting game. Like, it could be an action game that just happens to cross them all over.
Okay, I was going to ask, because do you think the fact that it is such a direct competitor to Smash, and, like, Smash is so... like, it's... I feel like Nintendo's characters have, like just more pull than other characters. But even now that I've, like, fallen more and more in love with PlayStation's, Pantheon, like, do you think it's still... a good idea? Like, is it like, I feel like after the first one failed, especially, like, I liked your idea of the not necessarily doing the straight up fighting. Like, I would, if they had weird like PlayStation fucking kart racing and then actually like tried to give Mario Kart a run for its money, I would be really hyped for that.
Frankly, I wouldn't want that specifically, but I get what you're saying. I even just like a party based RPG with PlayStation characters would be cool. Or like, honestly, if they're gonna go the fighting game route again, I say just do it as a more traditional arcade fighting game. Fucking get NetherRealm to develop it. Like, Kratos was in Mortal Kombat 9, and he was a sick character for that game.
I did not know that. What the fuck?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
He was a PlayStation exclusive for Mortal Kombat, the one that was just called Mortal Kombat, the reboot. Like that. That would be sick. Like, I would love to see that, and like Aloy would clearly work for that. Like, there's a lot of characters that would. Like, I mean, fucking, you could even figure out a way to make Nathan Drake work. Like, if he worked in All-Stars Battle Royale, he could work in a more grounded, like, less jumpy type of game. I don't see why that wouldn't work. So I just want them to try something with that again.
That'd be dope.
And then there's like this series I want to see come back. You know, we haven't had Jack and Daxter in a long time. Sly Cooper we haven't had since the fourth one. Maybe if once Ghost of Tsushima is done, Sucker Punch can themselves develop a new Sly game. I doubt they will. They've moved on. But, I mean, the last one wasn't developed by them, and it was still good. But, like, it'd be cool to see them, come back to... mascot platformers have made a return, but it's, a lot of newer things, which is good. New stuff is good. Ukulele or Hat in Time or the Xbox one that was on Switch recently with the fox... Do you know what I'm talking about?
It's not
Lucky's
Conker's Bad Fur. There we go. Yeah,
Lucky's Tale. Yeah, like,
Super
I'm
Lucky's
glad
Tale.
that kind of stuff is making a comeback, but I mean, whether it's Banjo or Sly or Jack and Daxter or a sequel to the Ratchet and Clank reboot, like let's get more of those classic platformer franchises back in some way. That there's just a couple other things I'd like to see, but these are things that aren't even specific to the new generation, just stuff I've been wanting for a while, like Bully 2, some sort of Mirror's Edge sequel, because Mirror's Edge Catalyst was really just a reboot of Mirror's Edge.
Really?
It kind of just... It wasn't a sequel. It told the same story, but, like, it was like a reimagining. It's hard to explain, but it's not a sequel.
Okay.
So, like, I would like to see a proper Mirror's Edge sequel that, like, expands on it rather than just, like, we're going to try this again. And if I had my way, it would be a sequel to the first game and be structured more like that. But
Word.
Regardless, and yeah, if Rockstar ever finally decided to make Bully 2, I would be a very, very happy camper. Or like a true remake of that game, you know, like on a new engine would be great too. Because that is an underrated game. Those I think the first Bully is like as good as like GTA or Red Dead or whatever. Like it's on that level of like well-made open world games. I don't think
make it online. What? Make it online, and then just call it Cyberbully.
That'd be
hire me, Rockstar.
I want to see fucking Melania Trump protest the new Bully game.
What if? Okay, so we don't talk politics. What if Trump gets impeached and then starts a Twitch stream? I would watch it.
Yeah,
like,
honestly,
if
he can't affect policy, that would be
like as long as his finger's not on the button, he is a genuinely entertaining human being. Like you can't deny that about the guy. Like he's a fucking whack job, but he's when he opens his mouth, you fucking listen, for better or worse. So
yeah,
I'm just thinking, and because Bernie's on Twitch, and I think that's amazing. So I'm just imagining them like imagine Trump calling out Bernie on Twitch, being like, "Yo, 1v1 me on Rust."
Oh my God,
whack ass,
dude. Like, what if that is? No, I don't want our world to come to
what
that.
What if the 2040 debates?
Idiocracy like that.
The 2040 debates is just around a fortnight, and whoever wins is president.
Oh God. It sounds too real, frankly. All right.
God.
Do you have any game hopes specifically? I know you've brought up obviously Horizon 2, God of War 2, which are probably givens, but
yeah, like none of my real like
revivals or anything.
This is I started bringing it up as a joke, but the more I think about it, the more I'm genuinely like, no, Spectrobes needs to be revived. Like now that Disney's kind of restructured their whole games thing, like make Pokemon better. Like, give them some actual competition. Like, I know that Game Freak is doing that other game, Village, or like Town Hero.
Out,
that's out?
I'm pretty sure that came out.
Okay, well then I'm already disappointed. Like the fact that I've heard no one talk about it, because like it was when I saw that for the first time, I was excited
when it first got revealed, but it just kind of faded into obscurity.
Yeah, that's crazy. But no, like on the real, I think Spectrobes. The more I think about it, it's been a long time. I don't fucking know. I do want. Because playing through Pokemon again.
Well, the fact is, if Nintendo, if Disney plays their cards right, like they could. There's no reason why they shouldn't be able to have as many like notable IPs in video games as they do in film and television.
Exactly.
Like they should, like if Spectrobes were to be revived or something new, like they could easily have like a Spectrobes ride at Disney World or whatever, and the same level of like corporate synergy cross promotion could make sense.
It wouldn't need to be a ride. It's a game about digging up Disney, Bob Iger. I know you're listening. Fucking, you put kids in a goddamn sandbox. You put the sandbox. You fill it with rock things that have like a code on the bottom of it, and the kids don't know because they're dumb. So they get the fossil and they're like, ooh, this is mine and it's unique. And then they put it on the little thing, and then as soon as you put it on a thing, some shit displays in the back, and it's like, hey, this is your Spectrobe. Like this is your little guy. You got to take him home and then make sure that he's okay and do whatever. But like. Now I just want to be like, I want to be 8 again. Like I want to go back to when fucking Spectrobes was the thing. I want to know why Spectrobes has stuck with me so heavily, and like because I did initially like a while back, like the first time I brought it up jokingly, and now I'm just like no, I'm a Spectrobes fucking fanboy. I want to see more like the game generators type things, like Mario Maker. I think Dreams, right? Have you been following Dreams on PS4?
That's the people who made Little Big Planet, right?
Yeah.
Media Molecule?
Yeah.
I was thinking, like, has there been a Little Big Planet in a while? But I guess they've been working on that.
Yeah, and they've been in beta for a while. They just announced, I think they delayed it to, like, March or something of next year. I don't know. But
move it to PS5.
I mean, I could see them just carrying it over. Like, from what I can tell, there's not, like, anything keeping it explicitly to the place. I don't know. But I think the fact that game creation is becoming more and more accessible, like I know that like RPG Maker and stuff like that has been on the Switch. But like, and have you seen that? I don't know if it was at the Game Awards or if it was at State of Play. I think it was State of Play. No, it was the Nintendo Indie Showcase. There's this game called like Super Mash, I think it's called, where So you'll start up the game, and then it'll have like 2 slots that you can put in 2 game genres. So like you're flipping through.
That's cool.
Yeah, you're flipping through, and you'd be like,
really
all right,
cool.
I want to play an RPG that's also a platformer. All right, cool. You mash them up, and then you're playing that game. And then I want to play a rhythm game and a twin stick shooter. You have a rhythm twin stick shooter. Like it's not.
What the fuck?
Yeah. So like in my head, they're just making like somewhere 60-ish like mini games that would be really like not full games, but like enough for me to like. This was fun, and I'm gonna try RPG with this. Like once I saw that they had like 2 or 3 game genres where I was just like, okay, I know that I would be addicted. Like they had like I think they had like a roguelike or rogue-like. I'm just like, okay, so I'm just gonna do roguelike and then all the other ones until we're done with that, and then RPG and then all the other ones, and then like I want more tools given to the player. Like I don't consider I just thought of Super Mash, but like I don't consider that a tool. I want more like give me a God of War generator. Give me like. Because I'm saying Doom had like level editors where you could place different enemies. Like I love stuff like that. Like give me more.
And that's something that's been around for a while, and I feel like they started moving away from it for a bit, but we're getting it back now. But like Forge mode in Halo, like I wrote down as a game I want to see, a series I want to come back as Time Splitters. Like Time Splitters 2, which I grew up with on PS2, had a excellent level creator where you could create story missions within your level creator with like checkpoints and like flags that would like trigger things. Like these were actual like developer tools that like would be in another game. And Mario Maker is like I still think Mario Maker is like doesn't get talked enough about as being like one of the most like impressive, smart, well executed ideas that Nintendo's ever done. And like more shit like that is I think only a good idea. And we've kind of seen with like photo modes becoming more common and like the share features becoming more integrated, that like they're not like you don't need to ROM hack a game to customize it anymore. Like you do, like Mario Maker kind of like is sort of the successor to all those Mario ROM hacks. Like more tools like that in games would be absolutely great. And now I want to ask you, because the God of War Maker thing I thought was funny, but like take God of War out of there. If you had to pick one game and then create a maker for it, what would it be?
And I can't say God of War?
No God of War. I just like what
Devil May Cry.
What is like an out there choice for that?
Devil May Cry. And then
like a hack and slash for that would be dope.
Because and the thing that so Devil May Cry 5 earlier this year, it was one of those games where I was just like, when I was feeling it, like it was some of my favorite just moment to moment gameplay. Like the amount of style, like at one point, so you've got a rocket arm. At one point, as one of the characters, you launch your rocket arm and then can like pilot, like tell it where to go. But then you can jump on the rocket arm and surf on your rocket arm and like do kickflips and shit and like just crazy amounts of fucking. I mean, like I like really stylish action games. Like anything that gives me, like I love Astral Chain or used to love Astral Chain. I mean, and honestly, this is one of the reasons I stopped playing Devil May Cry, because it was like, you'll give me fucking high octane. I'm fucking shaking right now. I'm in the zone. It feels amazing, and then the pace like will crawl, like just will slow down so much. Like in Astral Chain. Like I stopped playing it. Like you can get 5 of the fucking personas basically. I only have 2 of them because I'm at like you're a cop in the game or whatever. And I think it's cool that they have you do cop things on the side, but I don't want you have to recycle cans at one point. You're literally walking around recycling cans and like just give me the gameplay. I don't give a shit. Like the story in Astral Chain is cool. I did not know what was happening in the story for Devil May Cry, but like just drop me into an arena. Send fucking hordes of people, make the movement incredible. Like I think and now I'm just thinking about like I want to play Devil May Cry again or fucking God of War. Like I think God of War would work a little bit better just because you have like not as many enemy varieties. But also it would work better with a lot of enemy varieties if you got creative. I don't know. Yeah. I'm just imagining or like Doom, but Doom already has the level creators, and I'm pretty sure Doom 2 is going to have that or Doom Eternal is going to have that as well. So like, I don't know. My needs will
that
be
seems
met.
like
I know that.
That seems like this seems like a wish that is one of the more likely things. Maybe not God of War maker specifically, but
I'm no
more
bullshit.
like game maker tools like that. I think are going to become more common. I think we will get our wish on this one. Frankly,
I'm not even saying I need a full separate like when Link to the Past, whichever the newest Zelda one that just came out.
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening. There we go. Thank you.
Oh yeah.
When that came out on the Switch, it has a very rudimentary dungeon curator.
Yeah.
And like, I Zelda doesn't speak to me in that way. But if God of War had just like a really, really basic, like you literally just get one room that you can link to another room, and it's just, I mean, the maker. I'm trying to reinvent the term, but I think that would be cool. And I also just, in terms of general presentation stuff for next generation, I want things to get weird. Like we were talking about the whole photorealism, kind of hitting that uncanny valley line. Like when I think about animation, I think like I love anime because Demon Slayer. Fucking shout out to Aaron for forcing me to watch this show. But like there'll be bits where it kind of looks like if everything is maybe muted a little more, they'll have like a very, very bold, like a very dark black, like go across the screen, and like a very deep red go across. Like it's super heavily saturated to show like the energy, essentially, like the fights and stuff like that. But it's really hard to describe. Just look up like a 2-minute fight scene from Demon Slayer, and you'll know what I'm talking about in terms of the mashing up of mediums and the mashing up of like just textures on screen, and it's like a lot of. It's like engaging more than one, like I don't know. I'm looking at the poster behind you of just Steven Universe. I'm like, okay, imagine Steven Universe, but like Garnet was 3D and fucking Pearl was cell shaded and Amethyst was like, I want some weird fucking
like Spider-Verse.
Exactly.
How each character kind of had their own style.
Yeah. No, exactly like that. Like I want weird ass games. Like I want. I mean, I hope we're gonna get that. I genuinely think that as like indie devs are getting more just love from the bigger studios. Like I feel like we're gonna get some weird shit and some weird looking shit.
Yeah, and the photoreal stuff it's not necessarily that it's gonna cap out, but the improvements are getting less and less are getting less and less incremental, or more and more incremental, or whatever. I don't know how to say it, but you get my point. Just like the jump isn't as big as it would. Like I mean, Ghost of Tsushima could easily have been revealed as like a PS5 game and would be like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, but it wouldn't like, like I'd believe it,
Yeah.
But yeah. Any final thoughts on the console wars or console generation?
Just that
gimme now.
Yeah.
Do you think you're gonna be a launch day buyer?
I would like to be. I wasn't launched for PS4 or Switch. Yeah, and you know what? I'm trying to think. I don't think I've ever actually like got a console day one. So like,
yeah, me neither.
This might be the first time I like camp out. Like I would be down to fucking go to whatever. If there's like a big ass Best Buy event or whatever, like I'd be down to camp out with a bunch of strangers. Like,
there's a part of me that just feels like the launch lineup is going to be pretty good. I have no reason to think that, but I have a feeling that like they've learned from past mistakes and like whether it's a lot of ports and stuff, probably. But I have a feeling we're going to get a pretty decent lineup of games for both of these consoles at launch. I don't know if I'll be a day one, but maybe it'll be like with the Switch where it came out in March and I bought it in like June. So I think I could be like a launch window person. Yeah. Maybe not launch day. But yeah,
launch window for sure.
And right now I'm leaning PS5, but that's just because of brand loyalty. So
I mean, to me, it's not even a matter of like brand loyalty is one thing, but also just like Xbox hasn't shown me games yet. Like fuck, Senua looks awesome. Senua looks fantastic, but also, like, I don't know if they straight up said that it was Xbox.
I think it is.
Yeah, because they bought Ninja Theory. Microsoft bought Ninja Theory. Okay, because I was like, I know that Senua came out on the PS4, so like, what changed in between that?
And Switch, right?
Senua's on Switch?
Didn't Hellblade come out on Switch? I'm pretty sure it did. Yeah.
I believe you, but I'm also like, that is insane. When did that happen?
I don't know, but while Bo's looking that up, I will start closing out the show here. Thank you for listening to Loosely Defined, sticking with us as we continue to fail to make these episodes shorter. Yeah, right?
August 2017. Right? Fuck me. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. It's been on Switch for a minute now.
God damn. And I've been wanting to play it.
Yeah. And, Microsoft and Nintendo playing nice. Maybe somehow they'll get Hellblade 2 on Switch as well, maybe through xCloud. But
Final prediction, I'm sorry. Destiny 2 on Switch before the end of this console generation. That's it.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I totally believe that. I think that's more likely than not at this rate. But yeah, Loosely Defined is over now. Thank you for watching and listening.
Over forever.
No, that's not the case. We haven't really discussed. I think we're planning to just kind of keep rolling through the holidays and not miss a week. But if anything happens, you can always follow us on Instagram and Twitter for updates on the show.
And where
where
are those? What are the ats?
We've got at Loosely Defined on Instagram, at Defined Loosely on Twitter.
Okay, thank you.
Updates on the show in case we do miss a week or we upload on it. If anything happens with our schedule, then you'll be notified about it there. Individually, you can follow me at eWilshire Prime on Twitter and Instagram for updates on what I'm doing, including my other show, the Save Greendale Committee, recapping every episode of Community. And
you do writing things, right?
I do writing things. I need to get better because you keep prompting me before I'm done with the previous thing.
I'm sorry.
Whatever. Everything's in the description. Just follow me, and my links for stuff are all around. Look for my byline on CBR. Look for YouTube stuff, even though I haven't done anything in a while. I'm trying to diversify my portfolio. So that's all I got.
I don't do much, but you can still follow me at Brother Grimbo with 2 M's on Instagram and Twitten. Also, we have a YouTube page. You should check that out. We put up clip outs and the full podcast. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think so.
More to come. We're probably going to start streaming stuff soon. So
yeah, it was just a matter of I had the wrong HDMI port. Or the wrong HDMI cord. Like, it was just a one-way. Idiot. Yeah, so we're good now. So hopefully that should be coming soon. So stay tuned.
Yeah, we'll figure all that out soon. And until next time...
Stay loose.
Loose me up.
Stay tuned, stay loose, stay black. For some of you.